I have been vindicated. Let me tell you why. Because when I first joined this YouTube world, I was like, I'm gonna be a booktuber, right? I'm gonna do book reviews. I'm gonna join the book community, which I've loved doing. But I was like, I cannot ever tell anyone that I never finished the Harry Potter series, that I stopped 56 pages through the 4th book. I cannot ever tell anyone that Harry Potter wasn't what sparked my love of reading, that a lot of the Harry Potter terms and tropes and plot devices I hear being thrown around mean nothing to me. I can never tell anyone that because I will be disowned. I will be told that I'm not a real reader for the millennial generation, or that I don't really know young adult literature. Well, guess what? I have been vindicated, because as it turns out, J.K. Rowling is a TERF! What's up, my fellow small business supporters? Savvy here. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my channel for the first time. It is good to see you. This is a very special Wednesday video. If you've been on this channel for a long time, you know that I always put out new videos on Monday and Friday about my life as an author and as a small business owner and as someone who wants to roast the business scammers of the world. We do all of that, and Wednesday is usually my writing stream day. So tonight, just like every other Wednesday night, we are going to be having the AuthorTube sleepover live writing sprint stream. But normally it's like I don't put out a video on Wednesday, but today I had something important to say, so we're going to talk about it. Now, a lot of you probably already know that J.K. Rowling is a TERF. This is probably not new information to you guys if you've been in the book community for like more than a second, but I figured we should talk about it anyway because it needs to be talked about. Real quick though, before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to ring the little bell, don't forget to check out all the links in the description below. In the description below, I have links to my own small business, Forever Home Friends, which produces children's books and stuffed animals based on the stories of real rescue dogs and their journeys to adoption. I have my own young adult novels out there, including One Final Vinyl, my very newest young adult novel, which just came out on May 15th and reached the Amazon new release bestseller list in 2 categories: young adult mental illness and young adult music fiction. So I hope you guys enjoy. Definitely check it out. Also, if you want to read a book that is not transphobic and that recognizes that trans women are women, I would recommend Sculpt Yourself, which talks about body positivity for all women and includes women from all across the LGBTQ+ spectrum. So what is a TERF? I've had some people ask me that. Some people who are not really, super versed in the LGBTQ community might be like, what is a TERF? All right, well, it's Pride Month right now, so really good time for our girl JK to just double down on her TERFitude. TERF, it stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist. It is, how every ideology has its weird extremists in different types of beliefs. In the entire umbrella of feminism, right? Feminism means a lot of things. At its core, it's about fighting for women's rights, but obviously there are a lot of people who want to do that, and women all think differently. Women are not a monolith, so there are bound to be some feminists who are like, yeah, we believe in women's rights, but not for all women. TERFs, Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists, are feminists who believe that trans women don't count as part of the movement, that trans women are not really women because they were assigned male at birth and therefore have, I'm not saying this, I'm trying to understand their thought process, that somehow they did not have the same experiences being shaped as a woman, or they have experienced male privilege in some way. I don't know. It's bullshit, right? Because every single person in the world has a different set of experiences that are going to shape who we are. I and another person who was assigned female at birth are not necessarily going to have the same life experiences in any way just because of that. That doesn't make any sense. So let's take a look at what J.K. Rowling said and why she's trying to backpedal now and say she's not a TERF, even though every time she does that, she just ruins her point even more. So let's get into this. So we are going to start with one of the first moments where it really came to light for the entire public that JK was being a TERF over here. So this first tweet that she put out that kind of started to alert people of the problem was on December 19th, 2019. So it's been over half a year that she's been doing this shit, and with all the things that people have told her, you would think that maybe she'd be like, maybe I was wrong, but no, she has just doubled down on this. So her first tweet was, dress however you please, call yourself whatever you like, sleep with any consenting adult who will have you, live your best life in peace and security, but force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real. Hashtag I stand with Maya. Okay. So from the outset, someone who is new to all of this might say, well, how does that make her against trans people? Because from the outset, you could interpret that as it kind of sounding like she is fine with trans people, right? It sounds like she's saying, okay, dress however you please, great, in favor of degendering clothing, call yourself whatever you, change your name if you want, that's great. Like, it sounds like she's saying that she's in favor of this process, but it becomes clear that that is not what she's saying when you take a look at this, the hashtag I stand with Maya. So that is a key part of the puzzle here that we need to see. It turns out what J.K. Rowling is saying here is not be the person that you're meant to be the person that you identify as proudly. That's not what she's saying. What she's actually saying is, do those things if you want, that's fine, but you still can't be a woman. That's what she's trying to say, which is disgusting. So let's take a look at how we can tell that. The way we can tell that is I stand with Maya. So the hashtag I stand with Maya is referring to a woman named Maya Forstater. I think I'm saying that correctly. Maya Forstater, who lost her job due to being a TERF. So J.K. Rowling is over here being like, I stand with the TERF. So for some proof, let's take a look at what Maya did. Maya Forstater, woman loses tribunal over transgender tweets. So this is an article from BBC News, and here is what it says. A woman who lost her job after saying that people cannot change their biological sex has lost an employment tribunal. Maya Forstater, 45, did not have her contract renewed after posting a series of tweets questioning government plans to let people declare their own gender. Ms. Forstater had argued that framing the question of transgender inclusion as an argument that male people should be allowed into women's spaces discounts women's rights to privacy and is fundamentally illiberal. It is like forcing Jewish people to eat pork. She was basically trying to gatekeep who was and who was not a woman. So that's who Maya Forstater is. Now, Maya also wrote an article claiming that she's not a TERF. Let me make something real clear here real quick, because some people are out here saying that they think TERF is a slur. That is so wrong, it's not even funny. Things that describe something that you choose to be is not a slur, right? A slur would be to attack someone on the base of race, gender, sexual orientation, things like that, nationality, words, those kind of words that target someone for who they inherently are, those words are slurs. If you have chosen to adopt an ideology that hurts other people and someone comes up with a word that describes that, that's not a slur. That is someone rightfully calling you out. Also, TERF is literally just a description of what they are. It's trans exclusionary radical feminist. That, I don't see why they wouldn't even define themselves that way. So if they think that that's a slur or an insult, then they must think there's something wrong with their own set of beliefs, which maybe they TERFs out there, if you're watching this and you don't believe in trans people, then you should maybe take some time to reflect on your own beliefs. Anyway, let's continue. So over here, Maya is trying to defend herself, saying, I lost my job for speaking up about women's rights. I'm going to go over 2 articles that Maya has written on Medium so we can kind of critique them. And then from there, we are going to analyze why it's so wrong that J.K. Rowling supports her. And then, just in case any of you are going to be like, hey, Savvy, well, J.K. Rowling supported this Maya, but maybe she learned from her mistakes and learned that she shouldn't be doing this and is better now. I'm going to show you that she has been tweeting transphobic shit as recently as this past weekend. So she has been spending a whole half a year being transphobic on the internet. So we are going to take a look at that afterwards so that we can see that J.K. Rowling is still a whole TERF over here. All right, so Maya says, I lost my job for speaking up about women's rights. That's a clickbait headline if I've ever seen one. So she says, I lost my job over tweeting and writing about sex and gender identity and sharing campaign material about the negative impacts of the proposed policy of gender self-identification on women and girls. I'm now taking the organization I worked for to the Employment Tribunal. We shouldn't have read the other article first because we already know, spoiler, how that turns out. She loses! From what I've seen, Maya is not being punished for beliefs. There's no such thing as thought crime, right? You can't be punished for thinking something bad or something wrong. You're punished for your actions, right? So Maya can sit here all day and think about how she doesn't like trans people, and no one will do shit about it because your thoughts don't affect other people, your actions do. So it's not the fact that Maya is thinking about this, right? That she has beliefs. It's not about her beliefs, it's about the way she acts on those beliefs. So I think it's a little weird that she's like, I'm being punished for my beliefs. Like, you're not. You're being punished because you want to misgender people at work and make them feel bad. You want to do things that you know are inconsiderate of other people on purpose. That's why you're getting punished. So I feel like she is misrepresenting herself here. All right, so going through this article, she starts off talking about how she's tweeting about her views, about her thoughts, whatever, and then she says, like most people coming into this debate, I started by viewing the issue as a straightforward matter of compassion, inclusion, and social progress. People should be free to live their life without discrimination or harassment. Vulnerable minorities should be protected. I still believe this. So she's setting this up as if she's not going to be a TERF, right? And then she hits us with this shit over here, this shit in green. The way she leads into this by being like, I think that people all deserve to live life free from harassment or free from discrimination. At the same time, doesn't that remind you of like, if you're having dinner with like your racist uncle and he shows up and he's like, I'm not racist, but insert stereotype here, right? People like that who say, you know, I'm not this awful thing. I don't believe this shitty thing. However, here's my shitty belief about it, right? She's basically doing that. She's like over here like, I'm not against anyone's rights. But, and then she shows up with this, at the same time, I have never believed that women are people who share a common innate sense of gender identity. Women are people born with female bodies. Womanhood does not depend on dressing, acting, or thinking in a feminine way. Excuse me, Miss Maya, who made you the women police? Who made you the decider of what is and what isn't a woman? What if I decided you're not a woman? You wouldn't like that, right? What if I argued with you about that? What if I said women are only people who believe that trans women are women? I wouldn't say that because I believe Maya's a woman, but what if I said that to you, Maya? Would that make me right just because I said it? You are not the person who gets to decide who is a woman and who is not a woman. All right, so she's talking about in 2012, I co-founded the campaign, Let Toys Be Toys, talking about toys not gendering anymore. You know, I think that's great. Don't gender your toys. I did an unboxing video a little while back of my non-binary Barbie. That is the video I put up that actually got me to 1,000 subscribers. So that was awesome. That was my first 1,000. Thank you guys for that. And now I've got a second non-binary Barbie, and I've been planning to make some stop-motion videos with them. I think maybe one's gonna cosplay as Rachel Hollis or some shit, so we'll see. So right now, she's just talking about, I marched in the Women's March in London, whatever. She's basically being like, look, here's my resume of how I was a good feminist. See? I'm for women's rights. I'm not an asshole, except she is. Okay, just because you have a thick resume that's like, I marched with women, I am in favor of kids not having to follow gender roles, look at me, I'm great. It's like, just because you do that does not excuse you. And then she says, I share the concerns of Fair Play Women that radically expanding the definition of women so that it can include both males and females makes it a meaningless concept and will undermine women's rights and protections for vulnerable women and girls. And she says, some transgender people have cosmetic surgery, but most retain their birth genitals. Everyone's equality and safety should be protected, but women and girls lose out on privacy, safety, and fairness if males are allowed into changing rooms, dormitories, prisons, sports teams. Okay, there's so much wrong with this. So first of all, if Maya is over here being like, women are women based on their gender characteristics, based on having some titties and having a vagina, that's what makes you a woman. If that's what she says, then she even acknowledged that some transgender people have, so it's not cosmetic surgery. It's gender reassignment surgery. It is getting, like, something cosmetic is, like, for how it looks. That's not for how it looks. That's for how it functions. There's a difference. So anyway, but she's talking about people getting their top surgery or bottom surgery or whatever. So she's acknowledging that that happens. By your definition, Maya, what would it take? Is that, you would call that person a man? For what reason? And if she says something like it's because they have a XY chromosome, I don't believe you've ever tested anyone's chromosomes. It's actually been found sometimes in the past that, like, there have been cases where trans women actually did have an XX chromosome the whole time, because as it turns out, the science behind what makes someone male or female is not, like, 100% fully figured out yet, right? The way it's developed in birth, like while you're developing as an embryo and a fetus and all of that, the way that everything develops is not, like, exact. It's not like, oh, this baby is going to definitely be like this. Like, it's possible that you could be given 2 X chromosomes and be born with a penis. That does happen. I don't know how often it happens. I don't have statistics on that, but I don't think most people have statistics on that, because most people have never actually gotten their chromosome sequence. So no one, for the most part, has ever even seen for sure what their chromosomes look like. So what she's saying here is, like, based on science that isn't even exact. So that doesn't make any sense. And also, why does she think that having trans women in like women's locker rooms and bathrooms or whatever is gonna put anyone at risk? That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. First of all, I am of the mindset that we should not have even been separating things by gender in the first place. It's fucking stupid to do that. It's like, if you're worried, like, if you're a woman going to the women's bathroom and you're like, I can't have a man in the women's bathroom, like, why not? I have been sexually harassed so many times in my life, and never once has it been in a bathroom. Even, I've had times where, like, I've walked in the women's bathroom and, like, a whole cisgender man walks in the bathroom after me because he went in the wrong door or whatever. Never have been sexually harassed in a bathroom. I've been sexually harassed on the street, on the public transit, never in the bathroom. I think that that's, like, an unfounded fear for the most part. Plus, like, women can sexually harass other women, men can sexually harass other men. So I feel like this is really just fear-mongering when it comes down to it. There's no reason to set. Plus, bathrooms have, like, stall doors, and I know that sometimes, like, the men's bathroom with the urinals doesn't have a stall door. Maybe just, like, put some doors on the urinal and call it a day. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. I don't think we need to separate bathrooms by anything at all. That'll just solve this problem. Just have one bathroom for everybody, regardless. In terms of sports teams, I know that this is a difficult issue for a lot of people, because some people will say, like, okay, well, you know, if you have trans women who transitioned later in life in women's sports, they might have had the advantage of having grown larger and getting more muscle mass and whatever. But then it's like, if you have trans women in men's sports, they might be at a disadvantage from, like, it depending on when you transitioned, if it was before puberty or after puberty when you started taking hormones, that all affects it. And I'm not a doctor, so I can't say for sure what's what. I would think, and this is just my opinion, if we're looking for solutions rather than just things to argue about, I think we could take sports and not have them be men's sports and women's sports, but separate them into size categories, weight class, and have ways to measure muscle mass and muscle definition, maybe with calipers and stuff like that, and you would classify it that way. Might it make it more complicated? Yeah, but honestly, that would probably be the fairest thing for everybody. Even if you want to still have it be 2 leagues, don't call them men's and women's sports. Call it, you know, silver and gold, red and blue, Pokemon Go. I don't know, whatever you want. But don't call it, I think that's a pretty actionable solution. So I think we could end this debate if we just did that, but I think most people don't want to end it. Most people just want to keep yelling at each other about it, but whatever. So then she just keeps going on about shit. No one attacked me and called me a TERF. I'm honored. So anyway, she goes on about that, and then later Maya decided to put up this article about why she thinks that J.K. Rowling and herself are both not anti-trans. She says here, the idea that sex is real, that human beings are male or female, and that sex cannot be changed is at the core of my current court case. I'd like to explain what my story is and why it matters. All right, well, that's an interesting start for an article about why you're not anti-trans. Go on, Maya. I am concerned that the acceptance of gender identity in place of sex in laws and policies has a negative impact on women and girls, as it means that female-only spaces including toilets, changing rooms, women's refuges, prisons, hospital wards, and women's sports can be maintained as female only. This is the point I was making before. Having trans women in those spaces is not a threat. It's really not. And the fact that she thinks we need women-only spaces that don't have trans women is basically her saying that she thinks trans women pose some kind of threat. By definition, that would mean it's anti-trans, because if you don't think that trans women are a threat to you, why are you so intent on keeping them out of your space? That doesn't make any sense. My fight for free speech. Oh my god. Okay, free speech does not mean freedom from people thinking you're an asshole. Free speech means the government cannot prosecute you for saying something. Maya, are you in jail? No, you're not in jail. You're still walking free around the streets, tweeting transphobic shit every day. Guess what then? You still have freedom of speech. So after all of that, after J.K. Rowling had tons of former fans coming to her being like, you know what, Harry Potter was everything in my childhood, I looked up to you, and I'm trans now, and I feel threatened by what you said, and you hurt me, and here's why. You would have thought that she wouldn't have doubled down on what she was saying. You would have thought maybe she would have taken the time to learn. You think maybe she would take the time to read some things written by trans women to kind of educate herself about the entire theory of what it means to be trans and what the experience is like and all of that. But she didn't do that. Instead, she decided to continue to tweet TERF shit because I guess that's what she wants to do. So J.K. Rowling decided to tweet on May 29th, 2020, just the other week, decided to tweet. And when I say decided, what's funny about this tweet is that it's an accident. Like, what she did was she has this new book called The Ichabog, and she was getting kids to send her in their drawings of it, and then she was tweeting about them, which was actually very cute. That was a cute thing she was doing. But have you guys ever held down a button, held down on the screen of your phone and click the copy button so that later you could paste something and send it somewhere? Well, she had something copied to her clipboard on the phone, and then she accidentally, as it seems, held down on the phone screen for too long and pasted what was copied into this tweet about this kid's drawing. As a result, it makes no sense. It just says, I love this truly fabulous Ichabog with its bat ears, mismatched eyes, and terrifying blood-stained teeth. In court, Wolf claimed the Facebook post in which he said he wanted to fuck up some TERFs was just bravado. Oh my god, okay, so first of all, it's hilarious that this ended up on, like, this is just such a, like, oh my god kind of moment for her, like, holy shit, right? What she was reading was an article, and here's what I learned about this after the fact, right? That the original article, Wolf, this person here, Wolf, that person is actually a woman. Wolf is she. Wolf is a trans woman. So it should be Wolf said she wanted to fuck up some TERFs. The Facebook post in which she had said. But J.K. Rowling decided to tweet it as he, because J.K. Rowling is a fucking TERF. Oh my god. So anyway, that tweet was deleted. But Twitter is forever, friends. So this is on archive.is. All right, let's go to J.K. Rowling's most recent Twitter hot mess, which was just the other day. So here we go, June 6th. If sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth. Okay, let's just look at this right here. I know and love trans people, but I'm not racist, but I'm not transphobic, but I don't hate women, but, right? If you have to say that before you say but, you know the thing that's coming after is about to totally discredit that. So she says she knows and loves trans people. I don't know if I believe her. I don't know J.K. Rowling's life personally, but it doesn't seem very respectful if she does have trans people in her life. It doesn't seem very respectful that she's talking about removing the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. Like, this reminds me, right, of people when they were saying that legalizing gay marriage, like letting two women or two men get married, was going to ruin the sanctity of marriage. That, like, somehow, like, when people were saying that, and the main argument against that was always, like, how does someone else's marriage impact your marriage? Like, if someone else got married, why does that make your marriage less legitimate? It has nothing to do with it. And that's the same thing here. She's like, the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. Like, why are you not able to discuss your experiences as a woman just because somebody else has experienced being a woman in a different way from you? Why? That doesn't make any sense. So then she goes on, the idea that women like me who have been empathetic to trans people for decades feeling kinship because they're vulnerable in the same way as women, i.e. to male violence, hate trans people because they think sex is real and has lived consequences is a nonsense. I think your tweet is a nonsense because I don't understand what the fuck that was. That you think you feel kinship because you're vulnerable. Do you think trans women are not vulnerable? I respect every trans person's right to live in any way that feels authentic and comfortable to them. I'd march with you if you were discriminated against on the basis of being trans. At the same time, my life has been shaped by being female. I do not believe it is hateful to say so. Once again, we have a lot to unpack there. First of all, I just want to draw attention to this word if right here. I'd march with you if you were discriminated against on the basis for being trans. I've got some news for you, JK. Trans people have been discriminated against since the beginning of time. If! I'm just like, is she completely ignorant to what's going on? Because she's like, if you were discriminated against. Is that why J.K. Rowling doesn't support trans people? Because she doesn't think they're being discriminated against? Is she just, like, unaware of them? I don't understand what's happening. Trans people are constantly being threatened for so many things. How does she not know that? Also this, feminazi, TERF, bitch, witch, times change, women hate is eternal. Okay. First of all, TERF is not, okay, I can see how you could think, like, bitch, or like witch if you're referring to witch trials that were based on misogyny hundreds of years ago, sure. TERF is not even a woman exclusive term. Men can be TERFs too. If you're a man and you are also like, women shouldn't have trans women in their spaces because it threatens their ability to be women, and you're saying that as a man, guess what? You're also a TERF. Men can be TERFs too. So that has nothing to do with women hate. So here's the tweet that kind of started it all off, was an opinion piece that was posted. Now, here's the whole thing about this. J.K. Rowling did not even have to talk about this. She didn't even have to put her opinion in here. This article had nothing to do with her. Somebody posted an article called Creating a More Equal Post-COVID-19 World for People Who Menstruate. So it's an article about, menstrual health and that kind of thing. So they said, we're to create a more equal world for people who menstruate. And JK comes up in here saying, people who menstruate. I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. And then she just like misspells women in a bunch of ways, pretending that she's like, oh, what could it be, right? So let me make something clear. When people say that not all women menstruate, they don't just mean trans women. They mean trans women for one thing. But on top of that, like, postmenopausal women don't menstruate, women who have had to have a hysterectomy or who have had certain other procedures done usually don't menstruate. So there's a lot of women who don't menstruate. So to say like people who menstruate, I think we call those women. You're already excluding other women on top of that. Plus, you're excluding trans men. So sometimes people who were assigned female at birth who are transitioning to being a man, they might not have, they might be in the process of getting hormone injections, they might be doing something like that, and they might be still menstruating in the meantime. So you can menstruate and not be a woman, or you could be a woman and not menstruate, whether you're trans or not. Being trans is part of that, but it's not all of it. So JK over here is being a TERF, and she is acting like being a woman means you're menstruating, and I'm glad that she is minimizing herself to just the blood that is rushing out of her vag hole, but I'm not here for her being a fucking TERF, and I feel vindicated that I am not attached to Harry Potter now. Like, sure, I read the first Harry Potter book, I got partway, I read like the second and third one partway through, and I read partway through the fourth one, and I saw most of the movies, and I liked Harry Potter as a kid, but I just never got the full obsession with it that a lot of people had, because because I just had so many other books I enjoyed reading and they were really long and I just don't have the attention span to sit for that long of a book. So I at least am over here just like, you're a TERF. Like, there's nothing holding me back. There's nothing in me that's like, ooh, this is gonna ruin my childhood if I acknowledge that J.K. Rowling is being an awful person. She just is. She's a fucking TERF. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. My channel is a place that accepts trans people. My channel accepts non-binary people, people of all gender and sexual orientations, people of all different backgrounds are welcome here on my channel. And if someone comes in the comments being like, am I welcome on your channel because of my different opinion? You are welcome to comment whatever you want, but I will tear you down if I disagree with you. That's how it goes, because this is my channel. But I am very passionate about having my channel remain a place where people can talk things through, where people can share their questions, even if those questions might seem ignorant. Say what you want to say in the comments below. I will answer you. I will argue with you if I don't agree, because I love to argue, and also because if you're wrong, you need to know it. But my comment section is still a place for people of different opinions to come together and get destroyed by me. So have a good time with that. I will see you guys all again soon. In the meantime, don't forget to support small businesses. And in the description below, I am also gonna link some pages to donate to for trans organizations. I'm going to specifically list some trans organizations that are led by Black women, because as we know right now, especially in the US, we are in the midst of an important fight for racial equality, and it is also Pride Month, so Black trans women are very, especially kind of, we need to support them. We need to rally behind them. So I have linked some of those organizations and causes in the description below if you want to check those out and find ways to support them. I will see you guys all again tonight at my live stream, where I will be hosting the AuthorTube sleepover. Bye for now.